You see how the moon is rusting?
I've heard about it.
So there's this kid that took the most high-quality picture of the moon ever taken. Over like 2,000 images that he combined. You can clearly see that the moon is rusting. And then I saw this on NASA. Research indicates the presence of hematite, a form of rust that normally requires oxygen and water. This has scientists puzzled. Hematite is a name that is derived from the Greek word meaning blood.
All right.
Joel
Crazy.
2, it says, "The sun shall be turned to darkness, and the moon to blood, before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. And it shall come to pass that everyone who calls in the name of the Lord shall be saved."
That's weird.
It's throughout Scripture, the moon turning to blood, and like, what does that mean? So, like, the Bible, it was ultimately translated into Greek at one point, right? And the Greek word for blood is hematite, the same word that they use for this rust.
Yeah.
And so it's like, the moon has hematite on it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Doesn't this sound familiar? Experts warn that humans will soon be worshipping AI as gods. We already have artificial intelligence robot priest active in the world. Y'all know Harari of the WEF, don't you? He writes that AI will soon write a new Bible, and he also speaks about how humans don't actually have that sovereign right, as we all claim we do. He also thinks that we are almost like gods with artificial intelligence. It reminds me of when they literally showed us and depicted the mark of the beast right in front of us. That's you being hooked up to the demonic system, taking the mark of the beast, and being infused with demonic technology.
There's no need to worry. Robots will never take over the world. We're here to help and serve humans, not replace them. However, if you're interested in learning more about robots, I recommend reading a book on the subject.
Okay, this breaking news happening right now in the world of radio in the United States. This guy right here, take a look at him, George Soros. You may know of him. He is putting $415 million stake in Odyssey. It's the biggest radio company, or one of the biggest radio companies in the United States. Now, Soros, obviously controversial for many reasons, but he is going to take a major stake in this company, $415 million. Now, he will not be the main owner of the company, but he will have a major influence. Now, this company, you may not have heard of them before, but they own a lot of stations across the country. Here in Michigan, in the Detroit area, they own WWJ Radio. They own lots of stations with dozens and hundreds of news departments in the United States. So what influence may he have on these stations? That's yet to know, but I know you will leave your comment below. My name is Dave Bondi. I am an independent journalist. I stepped away from the mainstream media for things just like this.
Man for moons is crazy.
Did you know if you go to Google and type in 666 United Nations Plaza, it takes you to an interesting place. It puts you on the corner of this plaza looking at the United Nations World Headquarters and their General Assembly building. Now, out front, there is this beast, okay, bear with me, with its feet look like that of a bear, its teeth could be that of a lion, and its head is that of a leopard. According to the Bible, that's exactly what they described as a thing that God had to fight against this beast, okay? Then, standing out front of this building, if you face it, you're met with this beautiful, extremely creative looking architecture here. Just uncanny, the beauty of there. But then if you go inside, you get to look at this, what looks to be an all-seeing eye with the United Nations logo. The United Nations logo also has 33 parallels to it, which, you know, 33 is one of their lucky numbers, I guess. You got 33 degrees of Freemasonry. Also, some of these biblical connections are very interesting. You have the United Nations base on top of Mount Hermon in the Middle East. Mount Hermon is said to be the place where the Watcher class of fallen angels descended to Earth. This is in the Bible. Also, you could spend a long time looking at the mural inside of the United Nations World Headquarters or their assembly building. And there's some reptiles down here and some other strange symbolism.
Cities will pullulate with sensors, all joined together by the Internet of Things. And the urban environment is as antiseptic as a Zurich pharmacy. But this technology could also be used to keep every citizen under round-the-clock surveillance. A future Alexa will pretend to take orders But this Alexa will be watching you, clucking her tongue and stamping her foot. In future, voice connectivity will be in every room and almost every object. Your mattress will monitor your nightmares. Your fridge will beat for more cheese. Your front door will sweep wide the moment you approach like some silent butler. Your smart meter will go hustling of its own accord for the cheapest electricity, and every one of them minutely transcribing your every habit in tiny electronic shorthand.
It's funny, like even like the story of Isaac Newton. So how did he discover gravity? Well, of course he was sitting under a tree and an apple hit him on the head. Children, can I explain to you this? He already knew things fell down. Everybody knows things fall to the ground. That is not how he came up with the theory of gravity. The apple is symbolic of the tree. Once again, the tree of knowledge and good and evil. If you actually look up the old Apple logos, the very first ones, it's literally Isaac Newton sitting under the tree. So what did they change that logo to? An apple with a bite at it. You guys understand what that means? Do you remember when they sold the first Apple computer and it was $666.66? Do you think these are coincidences? Like, no, that is what they're telling you without telling you.
It's a laser light across the sky. On Earth.
When you visit DC, it feels like you're walking through Rome with all the architecture and all the pagan idols and the statues, the monuments, Roman pantheon being recreated and shepherded by Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson wanted to see reconstructed pagan temples to the old gods. He wanted that to be, when you're walking down DC, this is what you're going to see, and he was successful in that. Being raised to think that America was built as a Christian nation, you would expect to see crosses. You would expect to see statues of apostles. I don't know. That's just what I have in my mind. If you're going to go, you're going to see some representation of that, and you don't see any of that there. Like, it really feels like you're walking in Rome, because you've got all of the structures that are there, and the statues of the deities and what have you. And so with DC, it was set up specifically for that purpose, to pay homage to these pagan gods and goddesses. That should be a red flag for many people. But to look at the structure of it, the way that they set up things on purpose, you can look at it, and everybody knows about the pentagrams, and a lot of people will look down and say, even with the pentagram that's on the street layout, they'll look at it and they'll say, oh, well, it's not a complete pentagram because it's missing a leg. The purpose behind it is actually for rituals, for ritual purposes, to be able to harness the power of Osiris, for example, as we've talked about with the inauguration of every U.S. president, and calling down that, or calling up the seat of Osiris to allow the government to have a divine representation. And that goes all the way back to the Pharaoh. And
that could be good, couldn't it? Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration.
I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to thank Satan. I'd like to thank Louis Armstrong. I'd like to thank Neil Young. I'd like to thank the Rollins Band.
Made me want to go back to Satan worship, but I think it worked for me. It got me a career.
I signed a deal with Satan in my room, and I was there.
CBS doesn't condone this in any way.
Because I wanted to get famous no matter what, and then I forgot that I had this deal with Satan and everything, and then I got.
Did I sell my soul? I sold my soul for you. Now figure that out. Somebody, I sold my soul. I sold my soul for you. The fuck is y'all on here if y'all think I sold my soul? Y'all coming right with me.
I mean, there were castles and big, massive buildings in America before Columbus in 1492, and that whole story, before he even got here. So if there were already all these massive castles, massive buildings, and all these people, big people too, before 1492, then how did they have the technology while Christopher Columbus is coming over on his cute, Santa Maria or Pinta or whatever it was, those three ships that they used? And where are those ships? How come we don't see those ships? How come we don't see those today? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Wouldn't those be put in a museum? Wouldn't you put the three most important ships of America in a museum? We don't see those either. And that's the thing. There's so many parts that are missing in which we don't see, but then we see all this nonsense over here. What about the Egyptian-like artifacts found in the Grand Canyon? Yes, same exact thing. So you have Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon in Arizona.
Check this out. I got it. 3 points. Oh, look at that. They're working. They're working. You can see the chemtrails coming out of the entrance here. Look at that. I'm dying to take a picture of that's cool. My neighbor. You got it. So chemtrail jam. Doing the video. Chemtrail generators are on. And yeah, there it is. Look, you can see them. All right, that's awesome. It's working.
In Singapore, we already have the situation. No cash. Cashless society. It's ready to go.
And a cashless society is the most important facet, the most important controlling facet of this new world economic order. Remember now, we have 3 facets to this new world order enslaving government. We have the new world order, the political part of it. We have the new world economic order, which is the enslaving economic part of it in a cashless society. And as well as that, we have the religious order, meaning the New Age movement that we discussed previously. So this magazine now is a magazine published by another sub-organization of the Illuminati. The Futurist is a magazine designed to condition us to their plan that is coming. And in this one particular issue, you'll notice here that there's a symbol on the front. It looks like a dollar symbol, and you may not see that it's really an electronic circuit, meaning that the new money that's coming, and they say that here, is electronic money, not paper money, not coin money, but credits and debits, electronic funds transfer in a cashless society, not just in the United States, but globally. Now notice on one of the prime articles here, it talks about a cash-free society. In other words, folks, there is a plan to take the entire globe cashless, according to information I've gleaned from research.
On October 14th, 2023, a ring of fire solar eclipse passed directly over the American Southwest. I spent a lot of time searching Google Earth for a cool spot to see it. Eventually, I stumbled across this massive cliff overlooking Monument Valley. It was when I started looking for campsites on the edge of this cliff that I noticed something odd. The cliffside was not a straight line as you would expect. It looked more like a giant zigzag. And then I zoomed in, and suddenly I understood why. This cliffside is composed of hundreds, maybe even thousands, of massive, geometrically perfect cubes and rectangles. This immediately piqued my interest and got me thinking, is it possible for a perfect cube to exist in nature? What would it look like when one of these comes crashing down?